Anachari
Gita Anacha
Yanatira Vanachari Jayarata Madhava Kunjabi Jayarata Madhava Jabiha
Jati
Jayarata Madhava
Indra Vidivara
Jayarata Girivarada Sakri
Vidivara
Yasharanandana Vraja Janaranjana
Yasodana Radhananta
Yasharanandana Vraja Janaranjana
Yasodana Radhananta
Yamunatira Anchari
Vanacha
Yamunatira Vanchari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Jaya Radha Madhava Kunjabi Bharati Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare Ram Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ram Hare Ram 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 Hare
Krishna
Hare Krishna 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 Hare Hare Ram
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Ram, Hare Ram, Ram
Prabhupada 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 Shiva Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada, Ram Prabhupada, Shiva
Jai Prabhupada
Prabhupada,
Prabhupada Jaya Jaya Prabhupada
Jaya Prabhupada,
Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Shri Sri Srimad His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada Srila Prabhupada Ki Jaya Vishnupad Paramahamsa Parivajikacharya Shri Srimad Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai Kanchara Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari. All glories to the Son of the devotees, all glories to the Son of the devotees, all glories to the Son of the devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Guru. Okay. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Okay, we're reading from Canto 6, Chapter 7, Text 22. 6, 7, 22. Okay. Tasyayam anayasyasit. Single. Okay. Paribhyo Bapada Pavaha Vakshinebhyas Vairibhya Samridhanam Chayatsuraha Tasyayamani Yasyasit Paribhyo Bapada Pavaha Vakshinebhyas Vairibhya Samridhanam Chayatsuraha Tasyayamani Yasyasit Paribhyo Bapada Pavaha Vakshinebhyas Vairibhya Samridhanam Chayatsuraha. Please repeat.
Tasyayam anyayasyas.
Syasit
Paribhyova Parav.
Paribhyo
Shnebya. Samridhan Cha. Chayatsuraha.
Chayatsuraha. Paribhyo Vairibhya Vakshinebhyas Vairibhya Samridhanam Chayatsuraha. Tasya. Oh, sorry. Did you want to do it?
It's okay.
No, go. We should have 3. Tasyayamani Yasyasit Parebhyo va Parapavaha Vakshinebhya Svavairabhya Samridhanam Chayatsuraha. Tasya, that. I am this. Anayasya, of your ungrateful activity. Asit, was. Parebhya, by others. Va, of all of you. Parabhava, the defeat. Prakshinebhya, although they were weak. Svavairibhya, by your own enemies, who were previously defeated by you. Samridhanam, being yourselves very opulent. Cha, and. Yat, which. Sura, O demigods. Does someone mind grabbing my water from the black one? Thank you. Translation purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Is the sound okay on Zoom? Anybody can just put a
Yes,
thumbs
we can
up.
hear you.
Okay, thanks. Translation, thank you. Because of your misbehavior toward Brihaspati, you have been defeated by the demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? Purport: the Devas are celebrated for fighting with the Asuras perpetually. In such fights, the Asuras were always defeated, but this time the demigods were defeated. Why? The reason, as stated here, was that they had offended their spiritual master. Their impudent disrespect of their spiritual master was the cause of their defeat by the demons. As stated in the Shastras, when one disrespects a respectable superior, one loses his longevity and the results of his pious activities, and in this way one is degraded. Translation again, because of your misbehavior toward Brihaspati, you have been defeated by the demons. My dear demigods, since the demons were weak, having been defeated by you several times, how else could you, who were so advanced in opulence, be defeated by them? Om Gyanatimanandasya Gananjana Shalakaya Chakshara Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare. I was just thinking, why does this feel different? And it's because I think the mic's not working. So, okay. Where's my notes? So I was trying to prepare for this class for like an hour yesterday, and my mind was so blank. I think it's because the Thanksgiving prasadam was so nice. I was still, yeah, even though I didn't eat too much, it was still intoxicating. But this morning, yeah, a few things came to mind. I was very inspired yesterday by um, the end of, Dasya and Tarika Prabhu were having this conversation about, or question and answer discussion about Varnashram Dharma, and whenever Tarika Prabhu was speaking about, yeah, satisfaction in Krishna consciousness, and I mean, the essential point that I got from it is that in order to, yeah, really be satisfied, that we have to be willing to do the necessary services, or what's our spiritual master instructing us. Otherwise, there's always going to be some level of dissatisfaction, which is so true. If you have you know if you're holding on to something, or you like have preference, or yeah, no, I'll just do this service, or I'll do it like this, then yeah, there's always going to be some dissatisfaction if that program that we've created for ourselves is interrupted. So yeah, it was very inspiring. It was very like, I could really feel like it changed my heart, that like in that moment, and then subsequently. So it was very nice. And related to this is this whole pastime. Now we're getting into more specifics about um, the proper mood and culture, not just around seniors or superiors, but specifically the mood in regards to the spiritual master. And the two things are, yeah, what Tarika Prabhu was speaking about, and then also this mood with the spiritual master. The two are inextricably linked. So we get satisfaction in Krishna consciousness, yeah, by being open, really, by making ourselves available. I think I'd heard a lecture. This has always stuck in my mind, is like wanting to make yourself available to Krishna, to the spiritual master. I feel like I heard it in a lecture from Vaisheshika Prabhu ages ago, or he has, a lecture titled something like that. But there's also something, I have this vague memory of something in the Bhagavatam that Prabhupada says. I mean, he's saying this point in so many ways throughout the Bhagavatam, but something very close to, like, yeah, making oneself available to the spiritual master. Oh, it's like it's on the tip of my tip of my memory and I can't remember it and it's bothering me. So hopefully I can find it later on any quotes. But um, that it also hit me whenever I read that. I was like, wow, that's yeah, that's our position, or that's what we should be aspiring for. Um, and it's something that I've been meditating on recently. Okay, how can I, take care of myself, so tend to my material and spiritual needs, at the same time putting myself in a position that I can be available to my Guru Maharaj in whatever capacity that is. And that doesn't mean, or like, some devotees, well, he make myself available means if he asks me to go to, Sudan, I'm not going to do that. That it's not just in that way, but also being open to a change of service, yeah, change of circumstance in whatever capacity, change in internal circumstances. So, whatever that might be, but we get the strength to do that both through the instruction that they're giving to us. We get the empowerment from that, and then also from our connection to Krishna. So from our sadhana. Otherwise, you know, um, well, we all have experience of before practicing Krishna consciousness, and even within Krishna consciousness, of getting totally spun out due to yeah, circumstantial changes. So without Krishna consciousness, without solid sadhana, we don't really have the strength or the foundation to be able to to change, really, because if you don't have a solid foundation, if your base is weak, and your identity as a servant of Krishna is weak, then yeah, anything that's like slightly throws you off or is disturbing is, well, going to be just that, very disturbing, and really rock your boat because it's rocking your core identity. Oh no, but I'm a this kind of devotee, and I do this kind of service. So, don't try to get me to do anything else, or take me anywhere else, or, what if I'm known in this community, but if I go somewhere else, then I'll just be, bottom of the barrel devotee. Just kidding. There's no bottom of the barrel devotees. Um, So anyway, yeah, that's just one other point I was thinking in regards to satisfaction, is through making ourselves available to the spiritual master. And yeah, because I mean, it sounds like maybe materially we have some perhaps negative past experiences of, just trying to quote unquote surrender or make ourselves available to others. I know there's one devotee that's shared with me frequently that they did that so much before coming to bhakti, just trying to like take care of everybody else, like soothe everybody else, be there for everybody else. And it really, yeah, it really burns one out. I mean, even within bhakti, you have to, again, nurture yourself before you can do that for others. But materially, it's like you have no recourse. If it materially is like if you have a set tank, and if that's depleted, like because material resources are limited, then that's all you have to give. But through bhakti, it's like you're just like the pipeline, and things just keep flowing. It's like, all right, let me get the mercy from Krishna, let me give the mercy from Krishna, let me get the mercy, and then give the mercy. So, yeah, like that. How did I get onto that? Anyway, so the spiritual master is trying to award us satisfaction, actually, and but we have to be open to their suggestions, and instructions. Yeah, making some tweaks or major changes. And I've been reading the first canto, and this is, really what whenever Vyasadeva um, approaches Narada Muni and asks, I mean, essentially reveals his mind, his heart, well, I am feeling some dissatisfaction, even though I've written the Vedas. And then because he's approaching in this humble mood, then Narada Muni is able to, yeah, is able to then impart knowledge unto him, like, okay, yeah, you did this service, but you didn't have Krishna enough in the center. And that's actually a principle that can be applied to any service, like, oh, why? I mean, I'm doing it. I'm doing, um, I'm cooking, I'm preaching, I'm doing deity worship, I'm managing whatever, but I still am feeling some dissatisfaction. And it's like, well, have you tried putting Krishna in the center? Are you just doing it mechanically? Are you thinking about Krishna's pleasure? Or are you just thinking about, am I getting enough adoration and respect and distinction, and profit for this service? And it's really a hard thing actually to wrap one's mind around. I keep hearing this point in lectures that I'm listening to from Devamrita Maharaj that um, and I remember he sent a quote, I think it was Prabhupada letter to Hari Sori, um, saying that it actually doesn't matter the results. I mean, he was speaking specifically about preaching. I don't think it was just book distribution. I think it was like preaching in general. In this letter, Prabhupada had written that, yeah, actually, well, the main point being that we really just try our best. And Prabhupada said something along the lines of like, the results are actually like none of our business. It's just like, that's not even, it's like we want to try, so we don't want to become demotivated. But at the same time, yeah, anyway, I could take a whole lifetime to get to that point, like non-attachment to the results. But because of Krishna consciousness, I'm also trying harder than I even would have if I would be thinking about the results. It's like yeah, kind of a seeming contradiction or something that maybe we've never experienced before. So yeah, anyway, I'm just trying to backtrack. Oh, so yeah, I've been listening to lectures where Devamarita Maharaj is making this point frequently that we just really don't we could completely fail at a service, so to speak, like externally. It could be a complete wreck, a complete failure, but actually Krishna can be so pleased still at the same time. Um, of course, that doesn't warrant like being irresponsible, but there's many examples of things that just didn't work out, things that people devotees put their whole heart and all their effort into it, and for one reason or other, it just didn't, externally, seems like it didn't work out. But still, Krishna can be even more pleased with that effort than if things would have worked out, but maybe your Krishna consciousness or all of your effort wasn't there. So that's pretty amazing. Um, so I'm just trying to find uh, this part of Narada Muni speaking to Vyasadeva. This really, yeah, these chapters of like the fifth, sixth chapter of the first canto, amazing. Mm, okay, I can't find it in 30 seconds, and we'll move on. Oh, okay. Anyway, I think it's in the first chapter. But you get the point. I can read those chapters in your own time. Um, Yeah, so the spiritual master is actually going back to this point of satisfaction. The spiritual master, we do what he instructs, and he's giving us the formula for not only satisfaction, but for protection. Um, Venu Madhurya Prabhu has been sending to inspire devotees to come to Mangalarti. He's been sending a Mangalarti quote of the day every morning for maybe is it day 9 or day 10, something like that. So many letters, Prabhupada saying, I'll just read the one from today because it's pretty much sums up what basically all the letters say. This is a letter February 3rd, 1975, from Prabhupada to Radhe Shyam Kripalu Saraswati Das, Bhaktivedanta Manor. I am glad that you are feeling happy in Krishna consciousness. Please continue to follow all of the rules and regulations very carefully and strictly so that your spiritual life will flourish. Rise early, chant 16 rounds, attend Mangalarti and classes, and your life will be perfect. I hope this meets you in good health. Your ever well wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. There was this other one that Oh yeah, this one was really amazing too. I think this was yesterday's. This was a letter to Jivananda that Prabhupada wrote from Honolulu. Also, is this also on February 3rd, 1975? Okay, same day. I hope that you are being very careful to strictly observe all of our basic rules and regulations, such as rising early, before 4 a.m., attending Mangalarti in classes, chanting 16 rounds without fail, and of course the four regular principles. Without accepting these things seriously, there is no question of spiritual life. So I hope you understand the utmost necessity of these things and are remaining pure in your activities. I hope this meets you in good health. Your ever well wisher, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami. So, yeah, I found that really striking. It says, without accepting these things seriously, there's no question of spiritual life. So, yeah, the spiritual master is giving a formula for how to have protection and, as Prabhupada said, how to flourish in spiritual life. But yeah, I sometimes, at least for myself, that I can think, oh no, but if I do it this way, my own style, or yeah, everybody in the material world wants to be unique. Um, like Devamarita Maharaj gives well, anyway, I'll go back to that because that's kind of a long example. But everybody wants to be unique, so it's like, well, I'll take the instructions, but just subconsciously, it's like when I'm gonna put my little like spin on it, um, or yeah, maybe justify this way, that way, why I can't. I remember in last year in Wellington, David Maris was also giving some classes. These were different classes, but on one example, um, some Grihasta asked him like, oh gosh, how do they put it? Basically, some question in regards to reading. Um, and they were saying, whenever our reading becomes less due to this, that, and the other, and he's like, "What do you mean becomes less?" And they're like, "Well, whenever you like enter household life and this and that." And he's like, "No, I don't know. Like, what do you mean it has to become less?" And so basically, his point was, yeah, like why you're just like automatically saying that, oh, if you like it's just a given that okay, yeah, if you enter that ashram, that means that's going to go down. Of course, it's like he also, I know he also gives specific guidance to specific devotees. Some do read less, this and that. So it's also like specific to the person that he's talking to. And then another boy was leaving the contemporary Vedic ashram and going to, yeah, start working, this and that. And then he was saying something like, oh, well, if we can't now whenever we start working or this or that, or move out and we can't go to morning program something, and David Mason was just talking, he's like, why can't you go? The river was like, well, I don't think he could say something for a second. And then uh, he said, well, it's it's far or something, like I live on the other side of Wellington. And then yeah, David Rich like kept asking him like, okay, well, what kind of transportation could you take? How long does it take to get there? This, that, the other. So I guess the main point is like not to just whatever it might be. Those are just two examples that were very striking for me. Like and me keeping in mind like in that transition into the Grihastha ashram is don't just like follow along with, I guess, the narrative of like, oh, that's just how it is. That's how it is for everybody, or like in whatever I mean, you could do that in any ashram, that's the sannyasis, like Srimad Maharaj also says that every ashram has its excuses. So like, the grihastas are saying something, but he's like, what about sannyasis? Like they could also be like, so much traveling, so much time difference, this and that. Like I can't, how do you expect, to chant good rounds? Like it's impossible, we're in airports and this and that. So if you just kind of like accept the narrative without either effort or just challenging it to some extent, then yeah, you're just kind of like being swept along by the current. So that's what I got out of his answers. Of course, like I said, there's always adjustments in any situation, living in the temple, living out of the temple, this and that, to discuss under the guidance of mentors and the spiritual master. But yeah, anyway, I think you get my point. So, okay, so anyway, yeah, we're getting the formula for protection, and the spiritual master simultaneously is protecting us in our spiritual life that we're trying to prosecute currently, and he's also rehabilitating us from our past sinful activities at the same time. And the two go hand in hand because, well, if you're not upholding your practice of Krishna consciousness, then your other option is that, people just go right back to the circumstances that they were in previously, but they might be vegetarian. So, so yeah, it's just so important, like to do these things actually. I mean, I'm trying to like preach to myself and also, following the regular principles as well, like is both rehabilitating us and protecting us at the same time. Um, like well, just on the point of rehabilitation, I feel like, there's so much information, or just, I guess it's kind of a commonly spoken about thing, like, okay, well, we have to be realistic about, like, for example, what past sinful activity, like illicit sex, does to the body and mind. And then coming into Krishna consciousness, you see people are just like completely obliterated, physically, mentally, like everything. And so I would often hear it spoken about men, like what effects they might feel if there's like a zap of vitality, or the brain is just like spaced out, or this or that. And I would just hear about it so much. And then I asked Krishna Loka, who was the ashram leader, I guess you would call her, in the ladies' ashram in Wellington for the past what year? Almost 30 years. Well, I guess she was really ashram leader for 25, but uh anyway, I asked her, I'm like, so what are the effects for women though? Like what I had heard in this lecture that there's this doctor, Dr. Gupta, who I actually met in Vrindavan, but he's an Ayurvedic doctor that came to New Zealand wanting to like start up his practice, met the devotees. Devamarine Samaraj used him uh to not use him, but you like cultivated him by having this doctor give Ayurvedic seminars at the preaching centers, And so the doctor had come in, he came in and he's like, "Hi, yes, this will be great for my business. Like I'll get to, recruit new clients and this and that." And then but then the change of heart took place as he did more and more service. And then it was like, oh, he just wanted to help people in that capacity and like bring the Krishna conscious philosophy in as well, so that people get like a whole holistic package. So now, I mean, yeah, he's like an amazing devotee. I think he's in Vrindavan now, and he has like a whole farm and clinic and this and that. So anyway, I had heard in a lecture that he would give seminars like this about, uh, yeah, the effect from an Ayurvedic perspective, the effects of like how much illicit sex decimates both men and women. I'm like, man, I really want to find that lecture. Um, haven't been able to find it, but yeah, it's commonly accepted both within, well, pretty much within Eastern medicine, like even Chinese medicine discusses the ill effects as well. Coming back to the point, I asked Krishnamurti, I was like, what specifically are the effects on women? She's like, it makes them lose all respect for themselves. They have no self-esteem, no self-respect. They'll just, yeah, basically they'll just like, um, yeah, they just don't care about themselves anymore. And I was like, wow, that's deep. Like, yeah. Anyway, I was just nice to hear from her, because it's like she's had 30 years of experience of just like watching ladies come in, what they have to go through, what's the effects, all, and now she does like, like to help with psychological things like the EFT, faster EFT, tapping this, and to just like help people get over their trauma. So she sees the same themes coming up again and again. And that that really stuck with me too, because I'm like, oh, I just thought that that was like a given to like, well, ha either have a female body and that's just part of the package, like this, um, not taking care of yourself, low self-esteem, no self-respect, blah, 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 blah. And it's like, no, it's a symptom of Kali Yuga and it's a symptom of illicit sex life. So is pernicious the word? Anyway, it's pretty bad. So the spiritual master is also helping through various methods and various things that he very lovingly sets up for his disciples, a rehab center, basically, like, Prabhupada would say, is like the devotees are in the hospital. So yeah, we shouldn't get all bent out of shape with our fellow patients. We should know that they're also getting rehabilitation in the department or on the hospital floor that they need to be in. Some are in the ICU, some are in the emergency room, some are in palliative, what's palliative care? Sorry, is that whenever people are dying, or is that like you're on your way out? I forget. Um, Yeah, and then the last point that I wanted to make is something that I've also been thinking about in regards to serving how Krishna wants to be served and serving how, uh, according to what needs to be done, and how the spiritual master would like us to serve is, whenever you're in a relationship with someone, whatever it might be, a friendship, parent-child, a spouse, like that, and you're serving them the way you want to serve them, like you're doing all these nice things for them. Oh, honey, I cooked for you, I changed the tires on the car, I did this, I did that, whatever it might be. But then whenever they ask something from you that like they actually really need to be done, then it's like, then if you're just like, oh no, I can't I can't do that, I can't help you, then it's like, okay, it's nice that you're like doing these other things, but like I'm trying to request you like what I actually need. And or I mean, I guess, well, those examples that I gave about cooking and changing the tires in the car are like very necessary. So that's all, it's also love, just like karma yoga. That's also love, we're doing for Krishna, we're employing the things that um, we're good at or we want to do for Krishna. But then sometimes it's like if spiritual master asks something or a certain other service needs to be done, and we're like, no, no, we can't do that. Then it's like, okay, well, you're just going to stay on this, slightly lower platform of love. It's still very nice. And, you know, most devotees, including myself, should look up to karma yoga, not down at karma yoga. But I've just been really getting this realization of like, oh, bhakti is like, it's about relationship. Bhakti is the higher platform because you're just like, this person is asking for help, for support, for whatever in this way. So, and it's not according to my sense gratification or what I want to do, and it's going to challenge me, um, and rock my boat and my identity. But if I want to come to a higher level of love in this relationship, then I need to show up for that. And then that takes the relationship so much deeper because somebody's like expressing the core of their heart to you that I need help in this way. And then if you show up for them, then like, well, you're gonna like conquer the heart. So similarly with conquer the heart in a different way than you would if you're just doing nice things for them, but it's what you want to do. So in the same way, with Krishna, um, if we show up for him in the ways that he's asking, and that's he can ask through different ways, but right now, at least at my level of realization is because I can't distinguish the super soul from my mind, is through, and the spiritual master is still on this manifest before our eyes. Krishna is speaking through him what is to be done. So yeah, if we want to come to a higher platform of conquering the heart of the spiritual master and of Krishna, then that is the way to do it because they're asking, how um how Krishna would like to be served, or asking us to step up to the plate. But yeah, I remember when I was a kid, I had somebody, yeah, in my life that well, kid and teenager, and I guess now, had somebody in my life that they would do all kinds of things, like, man, take me shopping, buy me all kinds of uh stuff, this and that, as like a bonding kind of thing. Um, or just other, yeah, just nice things, like that's very nice. Um, but then, whenever I ask, like, okay, this is something I really need like support or help in, then it would be like, oh my gosh, you're so high maintenance, you're such a brat, you're so demanding, like this and that. So it's like, if we do that to in effect to Krishna, that it's like, and we're not calling Krishna a brat, of course, but where it's like, I'm giving for you, and then that person could be like, but I gave to you, I did this for you, I did that for you, I did that, and I'm like, but I didn't ask you to do that. Like, I didn't, now you're like holding it against me. So in the same way, if we do that to Krishna, like, what, Krishna, why are you asking me to change my heart? Why are you asking me to do this different service? This is so unfair. Why are you asking me to, work on this, or, yeah, like I said, change in this way. I've done this for you, I've done that for you, I've done all these things. Then yeah, we will stay again at a lower level of love that's just based on the preferences. So anyway, all this to say that it's amazing. We should serve Krishna in whatever capacity that we can, and according to our realization. I'm just getting some realization and trying to have in my mind, like, oh yeah, it's very nice actually to aspire for that higher platform of like, Krishna, I want to, enter closer to your heart and love you more. So hopefully I can start to do that even an ounce more by hearing how you want to be served rather than just how I want to serve you. So anyway, I'll just stop there. And anyone has some reflections or questions?
I do have a question. So you were saying that we should serve the way that a person wants, what person wants, and like you were saying like bhakti yoga.
Mm.
So, but I also heard that in order to develop the bhakti yoga, you have to serve, right? But I might not feel yet that I'm ready to serve on the platform of bhakti.
Mm.
So how then we develop that love? So is it okay to at least start with like karma yoga service?
Of course, yeah. Yeah, I mean, that's why I'm saying, if I can even develop an ounce of like, even in one department of my life, of like, okay, the spiritual master's asking or instructing that I chant, instructing so many things, but let's say I pick out something and I'm like, okay, yeah, he does say to chant attentive rounds, and I've just been kind of chanting my rounds how I want to. So, which is mechanically. So if I can even improve in my offering by chanting one round nicer, even one mantra nicer, then like that's also a step closer in bhakti. So it doesn't mean we have to like, overnight, oh my gosh, I need to be like a surrendered soul. Ask my Guru Dev, whatever. What do you what do you want? Like, we also just have to be real before the spiritual master, like, okay, actually this is really challenging for me and I don't know if I can do this, because um I mean, he knows, but also, yeah, we have to be honest because he's not omnipotent or omniscient. So yeah, anyway, just an ounce at a time, 1% at a time, really. Unless, I mean, Krishna can also do whatever he wants and have our heart change like that. Like, I mean, Taraka Prabhu can also probably give some examples, but I heard also, I'm quoting a lot of, yeah, Dave Maurice Maharaj's lectures today, but he was giving his example of, he came to the temple, and the first services, they're like handed him a broom and they're like, okay, sweep the floors of the BBT, like this and that. And then they went on Harinam one time and he sold a lot of incense. And then the temple president was like, great, your new service is book distribution. And he hated it, but he wanted to love it. So he said, basically, he was like, yeah, my career in karma yoga was very brief. So sometimes Krishna can just like pull the rug out from under us in one department, and then it's like you really have to call on. I mean, that's why I was saying strength of sadhana is so important. Guidance is so important that you got to call on some like internal reserve that you have and like muster it up and be like, all right, you know what? I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna take the jump. It's gonna be hard, but that's another way to do it. So you can either, I mean, both are there, both can exist. Let me go about this systematically and like, I kind of have some control over the situation. And then the other one is, oh my gosh, here's the circumstances. The circumstance is actually an opportunity. Um, Thank you. Sorry, James was commenting. Yeah, does that help? Okay. You have some? Okay.
Yesterday when Tarko was talking, I really appreciated like what he was talking about satisfaction. So thank you for bringing that into the class and all the nice things today. The verse I thought of when he talked about that was Bhagavad Gita 266. And it says, one time lifted to the supreme Krishna consciousness, and have neither transcendental autonomy nor steady life, that which there is no possibility of peace. That whenever you inhabit without peace. So it's just talking about that yesterday. Without being connected to Krishna, the supreme Krishna consciousness, you can't have satisfaction.
That's such a nice verse to remember in connections. Everybody loved your points, Sarakapalu. I don't know if you could hear that from Jana, but yeah, I wanted to see if James had a question. I just saw the comments. Oh, he said, let me get the mercy from Krishna. Let me give the mercy from Krishna, being a pipeline for Krishna's mercy. Like how you interpreted that, Haribol. Okay. You have something, Prabhu? Any questions? Sure. Oh, sorry, I keep doing this. Yes.
You consider our own nature in service. I mean, we have different, say, one is about someone is good in speaking and preaching, someone in management, someone in sales, someone is just doing some work. Yeah, correct. And should consider our nature being engaged and being open to the service.
I think both can happen. I think that just on a practical level, it's instead of like trying to say like, oh, you're good at that. Well, we're not going to give you that because we want you to come to the platform of bhakti and not just do what I mean, you can be doing something that you're good at already naturally and also like be in bhakti yoga. So the two aren't mutually exclusive. But yeah, on a practical level, it's definitely better for the society as a whole and more productive to just, I mean, not just, but to use everything in Krishna service. So if somebody's already studied something or is naturally good at something, like, I mean, I wouldn't be able to, even if I learned to do other things on this farm that devotees do, like up here, I still wouldn't be able to do it like as well as them, you know? So, so yeah, that's there. And I'm trying to think of how else. But I think at the same time is it can also be even within the context of, let's say, doing a service that you're naturally good at. It, I mean, if we're sincere, Krishna will purify us in that too. Like he'll try to keep bumping us up to like, okay, karma yoga, bhakti yoga, like even within the context of that same service. So, like there are so many artists, right, that Prabhupada was engaging, and maybe some of them already were artists and they were already painting like that. But imagine if, you're getting for an artist and then they get critiqued on their work or something like that, or the false ego is just one way or other. Krishna's gonna like help to purify it. So yeah, there's actually Krishna's unlimited. There's unlimited opportunities to uh, be able to level up, so to speak. Does that answer your question? Does that help?
Yes.
Okay.
I add a little bit.
Yeah, please.
Because I heard from my Maharaj, he said that people usually can have two sources of happiness. One is like material one, and it doesn't how to say, real happiness. It's like deep satisfaction. If the person engaged his material nature here in his activities, he can get this deep satisfaction. And other sources, of course, bhakti, because it's higher source. But when we connect these two like sides, we can be really, really happy in Krishna consciousness.
Yeah, that's so true. I also have practical experience of that. I wish you would have been here yesterday because there was like a whole like practically 2-hour class all about this, like the Varnashram Dharma and like engaging people's propensities. And then it's like, okay, but what about for devotees? And it's like a whole thing. So I'm like, once it's posted on YouTube, I'm like, I have nothing else to add to that conversation. Or yeah, if you see Dasya Prabhu, he could probably like summarize it very nicely for you, and you guys could definitely talk about this. But yeah, it's true. Like, I mean, yeah, if we're so pure that we just are like at the level or come to the level of just like my satisfaction is and have the awareness that my satisfaction is just like purely based on I'm just going to do whatever my spiritual master asks me and just like not even think twice about it. That's like, I mean, like a million obeisances to that person, obviously. But yeah, then there's like, I guess not the reality, but more, maybe a more universal, well, a more common thing of, yeah, it's helpful not only for the society but for most devotees to just like engage their propensity. I know that's definitely true for me. I mean, even devotees that I've seen that are like so, I mean, giving their whole life everything, and they yeah, and they are not a manager, I guess, in the traditional or how one would think, like running a whole um bhakti kind of corporation type manager, uh, that because it was necessary, they did that service and they did it for like a couple years, but it was like really like eating at them from the inside out. Like they're like, I love my spiritual master so much, like I'm doing this and that. And then the spiritual master came and they're like, and I think this person just like broke down, and then he was like, it's fine, like you don't have to do this, like it's so yeah, but there's also like a certain satisfaction there too. Even if you're like materially miserable, you can still be getting satisfaction just because you're doing service and you're doing like what's necessary. So that's another thing too about bhakti, is it's not even dependent on material happiness or distress, but we do want happy devotees and well-rounded, and devotees that are people look at and are attracted, and I want to be like that rather than like, what happened to her? Like, is she doing okay managing this place? So yeah. Oh, I have 1 minute. Anybody online have a comment or reflection or addition? Okay. Yep.
I heard something. I don't know if anyone else has heard this, that like you can't hold on to mercy.
Mm.
So I think that's why it's nice hearing you say, get the mercy, give the mercy, get the mercy. Keep getting out so you can just have the flow.
Wow. That's a cool way to look at it. Jenna was saying that she's heard that wait, hang on. Let me say it again. That you can't hold on to mercy, right? So that you can't hold on to mercy. So that's why we have to get the mercy, give the mercy, get the mercy, give the mercy, like that. I'm like, that's a nice way. Um, yeah, that's a nice way to think of it. I've heard that, the more you give Krishna, the more you get. That is, well, actually, Dev Swami said this to me. The more you give Krishna, the more you get. That is Lord Chaitanya's program, of which you can play a big role. So, yeah, I think about that often. Okay. Thank you, devotees. Grantarashima Bhagavatam ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.